What's been the difference this year? Just talking about last year what you had to go through, and now this year.
Yeah, I think. Appreciate you, Miles. I think just the overall energy in the building. The coaches come in the building every day in practice. You guys see it in the start of practice. They're amping everybody up. They're living. They're preaching. They're living what they preach. You want to come in here, Miles? Yeah, they live what they preach. Coach Urban Meyer gives them a message in a team meeting, and we go through our individual meetings. All the coaches are locked in on that message. They reiterate it to us, and you see that out here. Whatever he says, how he wants practice to be run, it's run that way. So I think from the top down, everybody's on the same page, and it's just been a good first couple of days.
How do you challenge for you adjusting to Cullen's defensive scheme?
It's not too much. It's just, the biggest challenge every year is different terminology, different language of the defense, but I think it's been a pretty good, smooth install so far. A lot of guys, obviously, there's going to be kinks to work out, especially when you start going through like 2-minute situations, thinking fast. There's going to be mistakes this early in camp, but overall, it's been a smooth transition.
There's a lot of optimism often in preseason because the games haven't been played yet. But there seems to be a vibe of, I would say, almost to the point of giddiness with some players about what they've experienced with Urban so far.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was just talking to Miles earlier, actually. Just like I think it's sometimes in the past you get to training camp, there's a stigma about training camp, like it's going to be 6 weeks of a grind to get to the regular season. You're going to put a lot of work in. It's going to be hot and humid out here, but they're doing such a good job with strength staff, coaching staff of taking care of players' bodies, getting all the resources that you need to be available for you. So we can get in the building, we can get all our recovery modalities. It's all laid out. It's all easy to access, so there's really no excuse for not to get it. And I think their bodies are just feeling good. Obviously, it's only day 4 of camp. Well, you can talk after day 8 or 10, but so far, people are all feeling good, getting excited to get out here and compete, and you see the results out there.
How many things have you tried in the rejuvenation room so far?
What?
How many things have you tried in the rejuvenation room so far?
I've done cryo in the past, but there's always a line for that. I did the infrared bed and the sleep pod, relaxation pod. I don't know. It's a little like mini sauna and massage thing. Hey, you want to come in here, Miles? Hey, they want to hear what you have to say. So, yeah.
How big of a difference does it make having that readily available?
It's huge because usually in the past you have to go to your own separate institution, and obviously you got a float tank spot, you might have an infrared spot, you might be able to get 1 or 2 of the other things in there at the same time, but now it's literally all right in the building, easy access for us, and you can spend an hour doing 2-3 different things, and your body will be all the better for it.
Ballpark, how much will that save you out of pocket? Because you would normally do that stuff off campus.
If you're getting a massage here, if you're doing the float tanks here, if you're doing infrared here, that's probably $100 each thing, and you're gonna do that a couple times. Like I get massages twice a week during the season. That's $200 a week you're saving, plus a couple $100 for whatever the float tanks and infrared beds and any other things you might have to do or used to have to do outside the building. Yeah, it could be easily $1,000 a week that you're saving, and you can just get in right here. So they're taking care of us.
How long can you stay in the little device that's minus 200 and?
Oh yeah, the
2 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think they do a 2-minute timer for that, 2 or 3 minute timer. But it's very cold. But honestly, for me, the cold tub's colder. For some reason, when you get in the cold tub, it just shocks you. Like if you had to go up to your neck in a cold tub versus the cryo chamber, I would take cryo chamber every time.
Speaking of Miles, Joe, he told NFL Network the other day that he knew when he lined up under center the first time against Trevor, he said, this is what a first overall pick looks like.
Yep.
What have your impressions been when you lined up against him?
Yeah, my biggest impression is when he throws the ball gets to where it's supposed to go quick. And when he needs to have touch under the pass, he's got a lot of accuracy. You guys have seen it out there. He's made a lot of good throws this week. Now the defense hasn't been allowed to touch the ball, but we'll break up some of those. He's going to make some rookie mistakes, but I've been most impressed with his poise and his command in the huddle and in meetings, just the way he carries himself. Because coming in as a rookie in the NFL is not easy in general. Coming in as a rookie quarterback, where all these people, 75% of people in these stands probably here to see Trevor Lawrence get an autographed football from him after practice. He's taken it all very well, and he's been very impressive in that aspect.
How difficult has it been because you can't press right now these first 4 days?
It hasn't been. It makes it easy for the defense. We just got to do our job, and we get close to the ball, and we'll say, oh, we would have made that play. So, it makes it easier for us. Now, when we start putting pads on, you got to tackle James Robinson next week, got to go break up the passes from Trevor. It'll change a little bit, but so far it's been pretty good.
And I was told I have to ask you, Game 6, Milwaukee Bucks, so what was that, last Tuesday? Emotions.
2 Tuesdays ago?
Yeah, 2 Tuesdays ago now.
Yeah.
Emotions, how were you feeling that morning versus how were you feeling the next day?
I was not as nervous Game 6, more nervous Game 5 when we were in Phoenix. Once we pulled that win out, I knew if the guys came and played well, Game 6, they were going to be at home, have the home crowd, it was going to be a wrap. And I mean, we've been waiting for so long. I tell a lot of people the last time the Bucks were good in terms of good, like winning a playoff series, like 2001 with Ray Allen. And the only thing I remember from back then is Ray Allen getting traded. I don't remember them playing. I don't remember anything else. So it's been 20-something years of just – we've made the playoffs a couple of times. Brandon Jennings, Bucks in 6 against the Cavs or Heat back in the day against LeBron. I mean, it was a prophecy, and he was there in the game in Milwaukee, Game 6, and it brought it home. So it was an amazing feeling. I was just sitting on the couch. I don't think I said a word for about half an hour. I was like Giannis when he was sitting on the bench crying because he worked so hard. I was like, I've worked so hard just watching these guys.
I was going to say, you clearly are not a bandwagon fan. You have been a Bucks fan forever.
Yeah. I grew up in Waukesha, so right outside Milwaukee. Go to Bucks games, and they had the red and green jerseys, the blue and green, or the purple and green jerseys, all the old stuff. There's been a lot of iterations of the Bucks, a lot of rebranding to try to make us better. And finally, once Giannis got here and started putting the work and bringing Chris Middleton along and those guys, it's taken off, and it's been great for the city.
So you know how Jags fans feel.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I've been. Although 2017 championship game, the Bucks didn't have that. So
Joe, you understand this as a pro athlete. So when you're watching them as a fan, like, you appreciate Giannis more for staying and sticking it out because you understand his situation probably better than anybody.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he could have gone to NBA. I mean, NBA and NFL are different. He could have gone anywhere. The stars in the NBA command so much more power in terms of overall dynamics of a team. But I think that's starting to shift with some of these quarterbacks in the NFL, as people are saying, obviously. But yeah, staying in Milwaukee, I mean, I was nervous last year before he signed that Supermax, just like a what if. But if you look back at his quotes and what he said since he's been there, he's like, I want to be in Milwaukee. His whole family's there. They went to school at Whitefish Bay, Dominican. I saw his younger brothers playing basketball in high school. You can tell that they're ingrained in the city of Milwaukee, and it means a lot to them to be able to bring a championship there. So I'm very appreciative that he was able to stay. And I can understand the ease maybe of trying to be like Kevin Durant, going to Golden State, create a super team, or LeBron in the Heat, all those things. But he did it the hard way. He did it the best way, and he's gonna be a legend in Milwaukee forever because of it.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
First week for you?
It was a good week. Yeah, I feel like definitely made a lot of strides, individually, but as an offense and a team since the spring. You can kind of see everyone getting comfortable, learning the system. It was a really good week. I didn't have the best day today, but that's what training camp's about: working out the kinks and really just owning our offense and the situations that we're going against.
What do you think about having fans at practice this week?
It was different. I've never experienced fans at practice, and it's really cool to see everyone come out. You can see how excited everybody is for this year, and we're all just ready to win. I know these fans deserve it. They've been waiting, and then that's part of my job is come in here, help us win, and we got a great group though, so I'm really excited.
Trevor, I think a lot of veterans probably helped you along the way in this process, but how important is it to have a guy like Linder who's been with the team longer than anybody except for Shapley?
Yeah, it's great, especially at the center position. I mean, he's one of the key components of the offense. Everyone is, but as far as a leadership standpoint, having him that's been there, done it, and just is really smart for one and a great player, having him, and that just takes a little pressure off of me because he can direct the traffic. Some of the stuff that I got to get used to doing that I didn't do in college that I'm still learning, he can kind of help me with all of that. So he's been great. Yeah, I hope so. He's got a sweet boat, so I need to get out there.
The workout at Clemson, did you sort of initiate that whole thing? And if so, how does it make you feel that veteran guys are sort of going into your backyard, your territory, to accommodate all that?
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where we had a few weeks in the off season and coming out of OTAs, I knew we just need a little bit more work. We're kind of not getting all the reps together with some of the guys, so I wanted to take just a handful of guys over to Clemson and for 2 days just be able to throw, hang out, get to know them, and just have a little bit of fun, but also get some work in. And so, yeah, I just reached out to those guys. They were great. They're like, yeah, let's do it whenever you want to. So we set it up, and it was awesome. I think it helped us a lot. You see, we got back into it really quickly when we started camp. We didn't have to take 2 or 3 days to get our timing.
Is that there yet for you, or is that a process?
You said what? I'm sorry.
Owning the offense.
Yeah.
Is that there yet, or is it still a process?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's still I'm still in that process. I'm a lot further than I was in the spring, so I feel confident in what I know, but there's just so many little details that, I mean, I don't know if you ever can say I know it all. You're always learning, and I definitely still have some more to learn, and different situations I got to get used to. Like, we did 2-minute today, and I'm feeling more comfortable with that, but still trying to make that like clockwork, second nature. It's just something you got to work.
You mentioned during the offseason you needed to work on calling the play in the huddle and breaking and getting out to the line. How you felt about doing that so far in camp?
Felt good, a lot better than I did in the spring. So I feel more comfortable just seeing the picture in my head, hearing it from Coach Bev, and being able to communicate it to the team or to the offense has been a lot easier. Definitely still there's some long calls I got to get used to, but for the most part it's been good.
4 days, Trevor. What's been the biggest challenge through these first 4 days?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is always, we practice and we meet all day, and we're trying to figure out little details, what we can get better at, and the biggest challenge is taking that to the field. And it's easy to write something down in a meeting, but actually, changing habits, and that's something that just takes time, muscle memory, and that's what I'm trying to work on. It's just little things I need to correct, and I think that's always the hardest and best thing about camp is you get the time to do that. So.
You're going to be a very hands-on coach. What's something that he's already taught you that maybe you're like carrying with you from training camp?
He's taught me that what?
Like, what's something that he's taught you already?
Yeah, I mean his whole slogan for this team is own it, just owning everything. And I mean, one thing he says is we have the ultimate authority, and it's basically just you control what happens in your life by your decisions. And there's a lot of people that want to blame other people for what happens in their life, and he doesn't like that. So his message to us is just take ownership. Like you control what you do. You control how hard you work, how you prepare. It's no one else's fault if we're not successful. It's ours. So I think that message has been great for the team because we have an opportunity every day to go out there and own it and do our best.
I don't know the last time you had to actually work with the twos or compete for the starting job, but is there some benefit to that to you maybe mentally to have a real competition or feel like it's a competition anyway?
It's always a competition. I mean, I'd say when I was at Clemson, when I first came in, it was a similar situation, and that's how you have to do. It has to be a competition. Nothing can be given. When you start giving things to people, then you set the wrong, precedent for the team. So, I have a lot of respect for the coaches, the way they've handled everything, and my job is just to come in every day, go to work, and try to make this team better. And that's, hopefully, get close to the season, we can all gel and get some more work together. But right now, I'm just doing my job.
The defensive side of the ball has caught your attention. I mean, every player who's come here has talked about you. Who over on that side have you seen that's made you say, yeah, this is the NFL?
There's a lot of guys. And Josh Allen on the edge, just his versatility, pass rush, dropping into coverage. He's fast, strong. I mean, great player. Miles Jack, got a great feel for the game. He sees things really fast. Joe Schobert. I mean, there's a ton of guys. Shaq in the secondary. I mean, I can name almost everybody, but there's
one for John Reed.
The Urban Meyer for this week, just a motivator. What's some of the tactics or things that you've done?
Sorry, what was that?
Some of the things Urban Meyer has done this week as far as motivating.
Yeah.
Incentives or what?
I mean, his motivation, like I said, is just to own it. I mean, we have all the motivation we need. Is what we do here in camp will dictate what happens when we step on the field August 14th and then again September 12th when we play the Texans. So, I mean, that's all the motivation we need. He's done a great job of really putting on us, and we got to own it and putting us in a position and taking care of us and giving us all the resources we need. But at the end of the day, the team has to make the decision of who they're going to be and how good they're going to be.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you, guys.
We're fortunate to have one of the best centers in the league, and he really controls the offense. And to have a young quarterback behind him, that's priceless. I'm not sure you could function without a non-veteran center with a young quarterback.
One-on-one work with DJ before practice starts 2 days in a row. Who initiated that, and what's going into that?
Oh, with DJ?
Yeah, with you and DJ.
Yeah, it's we call it snapshot, and snapshot is when you push pause on the videotape, and what's the reality between a great corner and a great wideout is they're going to be in position to make a play on the ball, and the defensive back's trying to box you out, and the receiver's trying to box the DB out. Somebody's going to win, and whoever wins is going to either make a play or it's going to be a PI, and that's something that he needs to work on.
Did he come to you and ask if y'all could do that together?
He does now.
With receivers coaching.
Urban, how has Trevor looked this week for you?
He's good. His skill set's there. The thing is that everybody's got to remember that defense is not allowed to make a play on the ball right now. And that's what happened in spring when all of a sudden we get fined because we have two defensive backs go after a ball. So they've been, our defense, I told them today, it's over now. Now go make a play. Next week we can start that. So all you can evaluate now is retention and skill set plus. Now it's the real stuff starts next week.
What do you thought of Marvin Jones?
Yeah, once again, it's kind of unique that we've been all spring and all now. You're not allowed to compete, so that starts on Monday. Marvin's been great. Let's talk next week and see what happens.
Sorry, is there a mental part of the 2-minute drill for a young quarterback coming from college because the clock doesn't stop at the first downs, all those things? Is that an easy adjustment?
It's for a coach too. Yeah, I'm waiting for the. So guys, like there's an intentional reason why we hired Schottenheimer and Bevel for that reason. You know, there's some really good quarterback coaches out there in college that really I thought about, but that's not fair to him. It's a lot of ways the game's the same, a lot of ways it's different, and that clock management is a lot different. And so we're going to do that. That's almost going to be daily from this point forward, because it's also the reality that. I think it's 70% of the games are 2-minute drills to win or lose. College is not that way.
Gardner had a really good day today. Could you just talk about how he's looked at camp and just handling the whole perception idea that, okay, the number one guy's coming in and he's probably going to have to take a back seat, that kind of talk?
Yeah, I admire Gardner because we've gotten a relationship now. It took a minute, like with a lot of players, because they just weren't here much. But I do appreciate that what he's going through. You know, I've seen that at the college level where, you know, I just seen it. And I that's one thing that I really appreciate about players that, you know, and it's never been harder than 2021 to put team ahead of self. In my 35 years in the game, you know, I'm not trying to be that old guy, remember when the team was more important than self. I don't know how much of that still left, which you can complain about it or that's reality. And he's done a really good job. You saw him today. I thought the whole team, you know, yesterday we were a little flat. Energy was really good today, and they're going to be rewarded for it.
How important is it to convince guys that competition is there, even if it's maybe not, at every position?
Well, that's been clear, and I got to make sure that's clear to you guys. It's alive and well. And the reality, you have 90 players that you're going to knock it down to 53. That's reality. I had a chat with the team about that, and I think I want to take the subjectivity out of it. And it's a little bit like when we had Joe Burrow and Dwayne Haskins. I mean, my gosh, you have 2 first-round draft picks. You can't. It's not fair to a player to not have objectiveness in there, and that means chart everything. Not yet, because nothing's competitive yet. So starting Monday, it's going to be. We're going to try to take the subjectivity out of who plays and who makes the team.
Will you continue to flip-flopping with the first team with Trevor and Minshew? How long will that continue?
Well, CJ had a good couple. I don't know what he did today, but he had a really good 2 days too. So it's a journey. Once again, up to now, this is just retention and skill set, and they're pro quarterbacks, so they can throw. But number one, the great quality of the best quarterback, the best football players, the best coaches, are competitive spirit. We've had zero of that right now.
What are you seeing out of Tebow as a pass catcher?
What's that?
What are you seeing out of Tebow as a pass catcher?
He keeps wanting to do this. He's got good hands. In drill work, he's great. And when you get in the competitive moment, just lack of experience, he wants to body the ball. And when you get into the point where 2 people going after it, you got to go get the ball. So he's fighting through that a little bit, but he's got the skill set to catch the ball.
Trevor said that this is the first time that he has ever practiced in front of fans. Is this the first time you've ever had a preseason in front of fans? And maybe okay,
100,000.
Okay, all right. So you're used to it. So for a rookie like Trevor, and even the other young rookies and first
That's the first time he's practiced.
That's what he told me.
It's called spring games.
Well, no, he said
Clemson's
training camp.
Clemson's a decent organization. Right?
Training camp preseason.
I'm gonna go bust his chops in there. Right?
He said training camp preseason. He's never had fans.
No, I think it's great. I think it's great, and our owner. Every time I talk to the crowd, that there's a lot of reasons why you play, why you coach. I love our owner. I'm not ashamed to say that. I think he wants to win in the worst way, for the purest form. He really wants 904 to experience some success, and we owe it to the guy.
The differences in the college game and program with the hash marks. How does that change what you're thinking play to play?
Well, once again, that's why I hired some experienced guys, much different. The typical call, defensive call in college is field, and then they make the call. Boundary, they make the call because it's so much different. This is all middle of the field, so you just don't even think that way. There's no boundary. It's middle of the field, so much different.
Housekeeping, the decision to cut Rosas, and then is Taven Bryan close to getting back on the field?
Taven Bryan had an off-the-field accident. No one's fault. He should be back here pretty soon. Rojas also had an injury that we had to make. We're down a couple legs at receiver, so I really like Rojas. So I'm not sure what the future. Trent and I will discuss that.
Jared Wilson wasn't at practice.
COVID contact, I believe. He should be back early next week.
And James O'Shaughnessy was working off to the side.
He'll be back Monday. He sprained ankle.
From the remember when there used to be 2-a-days. How do you get?
Yeah, how do you do that? I can't even imagine going back out. 3 days.
So what is the rest of?
Well, that's when men were men now.
What does the rest of the day look like?
Men were stupid.
What does the rest of the day look like? What are you trying to get done when they're not on the field?
Well, you got there's restrictions. I can't remember the exact. I think it's 11 hours. So we're gonna they get cleaned up. We call it rejuvenation, which is critical, and then we go to meetings and walk through, and then they move on.
Jimmy Johnson said that you were having some trouble with not being around the guys 24/7. Do you get a little more time now?
Oh yeah.
And does this feel a little bit more like what you want?
Well, you just get to know. I still, and I share this with our staff, that at the end of the day, I think you win for your coach, and the coaches coach for the players. I know they get paid now, and I've heard all about the pro. I don't necessarily buy that. I believe in relationships. I believe that these are not number 75 or 72. They're people, and that's, I think, one of the reasons we've had success over the years. And that's pushing up from our staff. See you guys.
Thanks, Coach.